Welcome to episode 81 of Paris Playbook. Today I got buddy Spencer Denbeste back for his fourth appearance on a Para hosted podcast. He just can't get enough. He keeps going back three times on the Twig Snapper podcast, and now his fourth on Paris Playbook. Spencer, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good. It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. No
Good.
complaints. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you're living the retired life now.
Oh yeah. It's pretty nice. Obviously, miss it a bit.
Is it weird?
But yeah, it's a little weird, but you don't have to go to the rink for 3 to 4 hours out of the day. Gives you some other time to do some other things. Um, it's been a little refreshing to say the least. Obviously, I miss it a bit, and I think at some point down the road I'm going to really miss it. But for now, I kind of have jumped ship in the job search, and it's been good. The school year's winding down, so I'm excited to kind of get into the real world, I guess you can say. Not saying I haven't been there, but
Yeah.
kind of get some real experience and kind of go from there. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to like completely quit. You can play in a men's league, or you could play in like
Oh yeah,
if you were
yeah.
back in the
That
UP or in Wisconsin or something, you could play in like the GLHL or something, like some competitive hockey. You would just like have some fun on the weekends or something. Like you don't have to completely give it up.
No, I definitely, I guess I misspoke a bit there, but what's the saying? All roads lead to the beer league. It doesn't matter where, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what route you take.
You're gonna end
You
up there.
you
Yeah.
start in mites and you end in the beer league. So
Oh yeah.
I will definitely be playing some beer league hockey. I was actually supposed to go to a tournament in Marinette next weekend with a bunch of my friends from back home. But it's unfortunately not going to be able to make it. I got too much on my plate right now. But it sounds like there might be one in June, and we're going to try to get to some tournaments and, have some, not saying I didn't have fun playing through however many years, but have some real fun out on the ice and enjoy the
Yeah.
time.
A little less
Yeah.
serious, less pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always I've always thought that it'd be kind of sweet someday to get a bunch of the guys like that I've had on the pod and get like a team for the Chicklets Cup and like have a Paris playbook team for the Chicklets Cup someday. I mean, it'd
That'd be
probably be
pretty
like
sweet.
super hard to coordinate and everything, but like I don't know, someday that'd be kind of fun. I don't know.
That'd be sweet.
And I like
I think,
it's not like crazy expensive where if you had like enough guys and you divvied it up, like it'd be that bad.
no, I think we've talked about that on
Yeah, probably.
one of the other two or three, but no, that would be pretty sweet. Or even like, I don't know, that one freaking men's league tournament in, is it Houghton and Hancock in March is pretty like, they got a pretty
Yeah.
big open division. That'd be pretty cool to get like a
Oh
handful of
yeah.
guys that are, finishing up or something and get a
Yeah.
team down there. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely feel like you could like had enough guys that like kind of like you that they're gonna be done playing hockey other than beer league or whatever, but I'll play D3 or whatever, so you could put a pretty good team together.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that on the radar for the years to come.
Yeah.
So let's go back in time here a little bit, back to Lake State. and
Okay.
and kind of like your thoughts going into the transfer portal, your
Yep.
decision, everything, and then kind of like how you moved forward and ended up at Aurora.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, when I was at Lake State, I graduated last May. So that obviously helped make my decision a bit. Um, I wasn't playing a whole lot there. We had a serious conversation, my parents and I, and the head coach there, and kind of made the decision to, maybe it's best if we kind of move forward and go elsewhere, as Lake State also didn't have a master's program. So I knew I wanted to get my master's degree. So they didn't have a master's degree. They actually do now. It's a year late, but they do now. But so we hopped in the transfer portal, had quite a few interests in some Division 3 schools. I want to say maybe a couple Division 1, like lower. They weren't like super interested, like just kind of touch base a bit with them, nothing crazy. And then Aurora was one of the top three Division 3 schools that I was talking to, and they actually had the exact program I wanted to go into, which truthfully, once I made the decision to go to Division 3, I was doing it really more for the schooling. Like, I'll be realistic. I mean, I knew I was going to go play my last year and have fun and enjoy it. But I was doing it more for the schooling, and Aurora had the program where, so I got my MBA with an emphasis in sport management in a year. So like I started last May and I'm going to be done on May 4th. And it was the only school that had the year program that was really interested, that was on like my caliber of where I would go. There was a couple other that had the 2-year program, but I didn't want to get stuck having to do 2 more years. And one of them was like an online program for people that worked. So it would be like I would take my class in the evening. I'd have to get on Zoom calls. Like that wasn't something I wanted to do. Here at Aurora, they had it set up like perfectly. I had 4 classes in the summer, 2 in the fall semester, another 2 in the second half of the fall semester. Then obviously Christmas break, whatever. And then the last 8 weeks here, I had 2 classes. And then now I just have an internship and 1 class. So the biggest reason I ended up, going to the transfer portal and was I wanted to get my master's degree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it totally makes sense. You know, that's what a lot of people do, right? They do
Yeah.
their 4 years at one college. They hop in the portal if they had red shirt years or a lot of COVID years now, and then they go somewhere else
Yeah.
for their masters. I mean, it's the common thing. And I mean, it's always a fresh start's always good, and
Yeah.
it worked for you. Like you said, you wanted to have fun. D3 hockey it's still good hockey. Like
Oh yeah. Trust me. It's it's definitely I mean, I guess I don't want to dive completely into it, but truthfully, like, I mean, I think it really matters where you're at. But like here at Aurora, I mean, we played the top teams in the country. I mean, we played Adrian, we played St. Norbert, we played
yeah.
Shrine, and like I've been at both places, and let me tell you, I think Division 3 schools, the top Division 3 schools, I mean, can compete with some of the lower Division 1 schools. I think the biggest
Oh
thing
yeah.
is, I tell everybody that asks about it, I would say the biggest difference is lack of consistency throughout the team. Division
Yeah.
1 level, every night we're consistent. Division 3 level, we're consistent on a night, then maybe another night we're not so consistent. I would say that would be like the biggest difference. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
Right, like Adrian, some of those schools, they have a lot of D1 transfers. Maybe
Oh
guys like
yeah.
you that played a few years didn't get the most playing time. There's still D1 athletes that end up transferring. I mean, like that's a huge part of it. But I'm sure if some of those top tier D3 teams played Ferris or some maybe Miami or something, schools that aren't as strong, it'd be competitive. I
Oh,
mean,
100%. I mean, you got to think like a lot of these, I mean, Division 3, everyone's coming out of the now. I mean, I think a couple handful of years ago it was different, but I mean now Division 3, I mean, they're picking everybody up out of the NAW, out of the BCHL, out
oh yeah.
of the CCHL. I mean, out of all the top junior leagues you know, in the country and in Canada. Like, yeah.
And I mean, you got a bigger pull for some guys. I mean, if you're a top tier D3 team, you can say, hey, come here. You're going to play a lot. You're going to score goals, and you could win a national championship. You can go to Ferris or Miami or wherever, and you're going to play Division 1 hockey, but you're probably not going to win a national championship, and you might not play as much. I mean, you can kind of like use that argument like, yeah, it's a higher level, but you can do more here. And if you want to play pro like that, you're not closing that door coming D3. Like that's still completely an option. So like I feel like now more than ever you can sell it.
Oh
Say,
yeah.
hey, come D3 and you're gonna snipe some guys. You're gonna steal a few guys away.
Yeah.
It's a different world, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and we don't need to get into it, but like I came here I was actually just talking to my dad about it exactly a year ago on the 6th, which, okay, so it was 2 days ago last year. I came on my visit and checked everything out here, and we stepped out of the vehicle and we looked at the campus. these Division III campuses, some of them are unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Classrooms are nice. Everything's high end, like very well
New
kept. New
facilities for like
everything.
school and
Yeah,
athletics. Like you got like both of it. You know,
yeah,
it's definitely, and
yeah.
that's a huge selling point too.
Mhm.
So one thing you never got when you were at Lake State was your college a goal. You got that though now. Got a couple of them
Yeah,
actually. Racked up a few
yeah,
points. First one
yeah.
had to be pretty
Finally.
exciting.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty exciting. It was just I gotta think of it now, but I want to say it was like our third or fourth game of the year, maybe fifth, something like that. Um, Home game, and it was just I think I hopped out there, kind of skated hard to the net, got a puck, kind of went forehand, backhand, and just kind of slid it in, and it went in, and there was the first college goal, which the monkey was definitely thrown off the back on that one,
Yeah,
as
finally.
it had been like four years since that happened, but yeah, yeah, the practice goals finally worked out in the game sense, which was it was nice.
Did you get to keep the puck?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you
I
get
was for sure keeping that
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, you're like after 4 years of this shit, I'm not
After
letting
4 years
somebody
of this
else.
shit, yeah, give me that freaking puck. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be brutal. I mean, like goals aren't everything, but you see it. You look at some people's stats, and some people will go their entire college career. They'll play like 20 to 30 games a year, and they won't score a goal. They'll have assists, and like that's great, but no goal, not even one. I feel like that would just suck.
Yeah, it would be very frustrating for sure.
Yeah. Easy to beat yourself up. You think of like if you hit the pipe or something, you're like, well, that could have been the one. And like you just think about it over and over and over.
Mhm. Then you're probably thinking about it too much, and yeah, it's not doesn't help matters.
So it had to be a lot more fun this year, right? Like playing in 20 some games compared to playing in just a handful each year.
Yes, I would say hockey wise, yes,
Yeah.
it was a lot more fun. Honestly, I think there was a lot more for me um that I like to do in the Sioux. Um
Yeah.
where Lake State
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
I'm not really a city person. Obviously who knows what happens with where I'm working or whatever. I might have to, suck it up for a while and be a city person. But I mean, truthfully, I'm not really, I was born and raised in Marquette, Michigan, and I moved to the Sioux when I was 16 years old. Like I haven't really been in the city aspect of it. So yes, hockey wise, don't get me wrong. I'm very thankful I was able to, make the decision to come here and get 20 some games or however many I think it was like 22 or 23. I'm glad I was able to come here and play my last year. Yeah, yeah, it was, but outside
But
of the playing, I wouldn't necessarily say it was, as much fun as, I had at Lake State, and I was able to do the things I like to do. And obviously, I just recently was up at Lake State, and it's how do I word it? It's a little different when you're around, guys for 3 years and then you come somewhere for 1 year. Don't get me wrong, like they brought me in like I was here for all 3 years, but it's a little different if kind of see what I'm saying here. Can I get what I'm saying? It's just a little
yeah.
different coming in, especially being 25. Like I don't need to be going out every Friday, Saturday night getting, drunk with
With
with the guy. I've done enough of that. So like it's like I don't need to be
with kids
doing.
that are 4 years younger than you too, like like
Yeah, it's a little different. Don't get me wrong, I still did here and there, but it's
well,
not
right, yeah.
it's not every weekend.
Yeah,
But
you're not going out getting trashed every Friday and Saturday and then, taking Sunday to sleep it off and get up for class and go every weekend, back at
yeah,
it.
and my trust me, I recently did it, and it my body's getting
It's harder.
a little too old for it, I
The
think.
older you get, the harder it get. And I'm not at
Yeah,
25 yet. I'm almost 23, so I'm getting, but yeah, you realize the older you get, you can't party, you can't play as hard as you used to. I mean, like everything's harder. Like I, maybe I don't know. Like, what about your body? Like this year, hockey, was it harder because you were playing more? Like, did you feel like you were more sore and like things hurt more, or like not yet?
It's funny you asked that because I uh I made sure this year I stayed up and I made sure my body was kind of what do they usually say, like a temple.
Yeah,
So every single night before I went to bed, I would take 40 to 45 minutes, get on the yoga mat and stretch every single night. It didn't matter if it was a Monday, a Wednesday, if it was 11 o'clock after a game, a Friday night game, and I was home and I needed to stretch after the game. Like I would take the 40, 45 minutes and stretch. And luckily, I had one injury which didn't affect it wasn't from my lack of stretching. I can tell you it was my shoulder actually. So yeah, I made sure I stayed up on everything and I kind of knew I was gonna have to do that. Because in the past at Lake State, I had some issues with my lower back. And that all starts with tight hammies, tight glutes, and it all pulls on my lower back. It pulls on everybody's lower back if you're tight there, you know. So I just made sure I stretched that out and yeah, it's taken 40, 45 minutes out of my day when I could be watching hockey with my six roommates, but like you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
right. And you have to do it more the older you get. Like after
100%.
playing years of college hockey, taking a beating, just like athletics for your whole life, even it takes a beating. And the older you get, like I know we're not old, but like even once you start getting to your mid 20s, like you notice a difference. Like you can't do things, you're not as fast as you used to be. Like you really got to work harder to do everything else. I can't imagine what it's going to be like once we start getting over 30 and into our 40s and 50s.
Holy, holy man. Yeah, and I've had a lack of stretching ever since the season's been over, and I can definitely tell after the gym I'm kind of walking like a Lego figure, I guess you could say sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a rude awakening sometimes. I know for me, like if I do anything, I feel like I'm just torched. Like I've been playing a lot of basketball, and I'll go for like 2 hours, play basketball, and maybe play a few one-on-ones with somebody or something, and then get back to my apartment. I can barely walk, and like my knees hurt, and then like everything. I just feel like I'm like 20 years older than I actually am.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. I know how you feel.
Yeah, yeah. We all thought our like parents were just bullshitting us when they were like, it's how they get old. They're like, yeah, whatever. You're not
Mhm.
that old, Dad. Like, come on, play with me. Like, let's go in the yard and play football. Like, no, I can't. Like, I'm starting to get it.
Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah,
it seems like the parents are always right.
yeah. They definitely are. I don't want to admit it very often, but
Yeah,
most of
right.
the time are.
And you don't want to admit it when you're being recorded either, because then it's out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So coming down like final stretch of the year, like was it tough at all, like knowing like these are going to be the last couple of games, like college games of my career? I mean, obviously we mentioned you can keep playing hockey in some fashion at competitive or more leisure leagues, but like it's going to be the end of your college hockey career. Like, was that tough mentally at all? Because you've been playing hockey so competitively for so long, from in like juniors and everything to through Lake State and now Aurora, and like that's all coming to an end. Was that tough, or was it easy to deal with?
Honestly, it was I mean, I don't beat around the bush at all, really. For me personally, I was like I had a lot going on, figuring out what my job because I knew I was gonna be done. Like once the season was over, obviously, yeah, it sucks. But truthfully, it was kind of a relief. Like
Yeah,
I didn't have to go to the rink for 4 hours a day. Like I
get
can
more
do
free
take those
time.
4 hours. Yeah, I get more free time. Like, and I'm not one to sit around. Like I'm not sitting around like not doing anything. Like I'm making sure I'm still going to the gym. I'm making sure I'm getting my cardio in. But like I'm doing that for myself now rather than staying in shape to, go out there and skate around
Right.
every day for 2 hours. So yeah, did it suck knowing that the season was going to come to an end at some point? Yes, but at the same time, I was like, I've been doing this a really long time, and I'm kind of ready for it to be over. Like,
Yeah. No, I get that. That
and I don't
makes
mean that
sense.
in a bad like a bad way or anything.
No,
But it
yeah.
was just I was ready for it to be done. And obviously, yeah, my last game sucked. Like it sucked, but at some point it's gonna happen.
Right. You can't play forever.
No.
Like,
So,
yeah. I mean, and I know we've talked about this before because I know you're big into hunting and fishing and a lot of outdoor stuff. And like hockey consumes a lot of those seasons. Like, when was the last time you really got to deer hunt? Like, I mean, like, take the whole season and like really deer hunt.
the last time I've taken the whole season, I don't think I've ever taken the whole season. So that hopefully will be coming soon. But um heck, I would say like bantams, which I would have been 14, 15 years old during that.
So like
So
10 years ago.
10, 11 years ago, yeah. Like, and it was just, I'd be able to go out with my dad and on sit during Thanksgiving weekend or
Yeah.
go out for, opening weekend. Cause a lot of times they would make sure not to schedule, especially living in Marquette, they make sure not to schedule games on opening weekend or rifle season. So we'd go up to camp and um, we'd be able to go hunting and whatnot. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. And truthfully, I'm really looking forward to be able to do some of that stuff with my dad as we have a lot of the same things in common. I mean, we go fishing all the time, but one of the things we've not been able to do is go hunting and stuff.
Right.
Mine has gone. I was like a kid, which I hardly really remember. I mean, obviously I remember some of it, but
Yeah.
not much of it. So like that's something I'm really looking forward to is to be able to go out there with my dad and kind of get things set up, kind of find some new spots and do that sort of stuff. So
Are
yeah.
there any like new hobbies you want to try? Like knowing that you're gonna have more free time. Like when you're a college athlete, you can't even like think about trying something new because you just don't have the time. I mean, you don't have the time for your
Yeah.
old hobbies. You're not gonna have time for new ones. Is there anything you've like always wanted to start doing, but you just never had the time?
Yeah, no. So I've always been a golfer, but like I've never taken it like super seriously.
Yeah.
So like I saw a video a couple weeks ago of like what the, Division 1, Division 3, it doesn't matter, like whatever college sort of athlete you are, once you're done, you always have to figure out something that you can be better at than what you were before. You always have to have a goal to like become better at that thing that you want to become better at. So like mine right now is I've golfed since I was 16, but I've never like taken it seriously. I've always sucked. Like, let's be real, like, bogey, double bogey, par if I'm lucky, like here and there. So this year, actually, since the season's been done, and obviously I've been down in Illinois, so the weather's been freaking beautiful for
Yeah.
4 weeks now. Like I've went golfing 9 times already. So like
Oh,
my
dang.
goal,
I
my
wish.
goal my goal is to become, I can say, hey, like, let's go golfing and I can be one of like the better or, consistent with some of the better of my friends that have, golfed over the years. Like I got a couple of my best friends are unreal golfers. So like I'm excited to like hopefully be able to like be up to par with them at some point. Which this year it's honestly it's already going up from where it was. I actually shot 2 over last week, which was I think that might have been a bit of a fluke, but I, we'll find out. We'll see if that
Yeah.
can keep going. But
I love
yeah,
it.
so I would have to say golf.
I've
Definitely.
actually I've gotten into golf. Like I never cared about golf growing up at all. Couldn't care less. Wanted nothing to do with it. Play, watch it, or anything. And like I just became obsessed with it this winter. I was watching golf nonstop, like Thursday through Sunday. I got some clubs and obviously the weather up here sucks. So like got a little putting green for my apartment and then we had like that like 3 weeks of nice spring and then the courses were open. There's a field across from my apartment. So I just go over there and hit irons and wedges and stuff and like noticed like a ton of improvement And then of course winter came back here over the last couple of weeks and it kind of put a
Yeah,
damper on it. But like I can't wait to for summer to like go out there and
actually get out.
actually
Yeah,
play some golf, like not just in a field.
yeah.
Like,
No, and it's very relaxing, and I can tell you
yeah.
it's a lot more relaxing when you're swinging them good rather than when you're swinging them like shit. It's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, right. You're one of those guys that you swing like shit and you want to snap your club. You see the videos like the people actually snapping their clubs and like, that was probably like a $500 driver. Just
Yeah, there's been let's just say there's been a lot of mother effers out there on the course
yeah, yeah,
couple of times. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's a frustrating sport. Like it's hard and like I don't know. I
Well,
feel
that's
like
part of the reason
people.
it's so hard, I think.
Yeah, it's mentally it's like it's
Yeah.
so hard.
Yeah.
And I saw this video. It was Nick Saban. Like since he's been retired, he's been like golfing a shit ton. And he was trying to teach one of like the Alabama football players to golf, and the guy just like could not do it. Like he was screwing up. And I saw somebody comment like that proves how hard golf is because you got a high end Division 1 athlete who's having like a hard time with it. Like it's a
Yeah.
hard sport. Like go easy on yourself. It's not easy.
No, no, no.
It's yeah, it's but like you said, when you're playing good, you get a nice day, you're out in the sun, like it's gorgeous, got a few beers, you're just with the
Mhm.
boys. I mean, there's not much better. I mean, the wind, the
No.
nice little breeze blowing, just a little
Yeah.
breeze.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually I went a couple times earlier and it was like later on a Sunday or whatever. I actually went by myself and walked.
Yeah.
It was like the most relaxing thing I could have done. Getting out there
Right.
and walking and just pushing that little cart thing around and swinging the clubs. Yeah, it was fun. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. So what's your favorite sport to watch? Like just sit down and watch. Is it hockey?
no.
What is it?
I've watched enough hockey in my day.
I didn't think it would be like there's a lot of people who like
Yeah,
they play hockey so they don't want to watch it or like they watch enough film. But then there's some people who are like I just love it so much I can't get enough of it no matter what.
I think at some point, down the road, I'll start following the NHL a bit more. But lately, it's just kind of like whatever. I followed obviously the Red Wings a bit this year as they're doing pretty good, and hopefully, I
Yeah.
think they're fighting for a playoff spot. Is it today or tomorrow?
They're in the wild card spot right
Are
now,
they?
but down the stretch they play the Capitals and the Penguins and maybe somebody else that are like all a point behind. So like they're like must win games. Like if you lose those games, those teams are
You're
gonna they're
screwed.
gonna they're gonna jump you.
Yeah. But I would say probably football,
Yeah.
probably my favorite to watch. Good old Sunday afternoon.
Big Packers, Lions.
Packers.
Yeah.
I'm a Packers fan, but I think this year what the Lions did was pretty cool. Like it
It,
was cool to
it
finally
was, yeah.
it was cool to finally see that for sure. Obviously it's been a very long time coming. Um, Hopefully the next couple of years they can do it too. And I think the Packers are on the uprise as well. But yeah, definitely a Packers fan. But like I said, it was neat to finally see the Lions figure it out and make a little run there.
Are you one of those guys that thinks that Jordan Love is the second coming of Aaron Rodgers and he's the answer? He's like the holy grail and like, are you one of those people that just thinks he's the greatest quarterback that God has ever created? I mean, like there's some Packer fans that I feel like
Nah,
their
no.
heads are so far in
And
the
don't
clouds.
Yeah, don't get me no, and also don't get me wrong. I'm not like a die-hard Packers. I'm not wearing my
Yeah.
freaking Packers gear watching the game. I'll, turn it on a Sunday or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, see, that's all
But
I need to know. That like you're not a
yeah,
diehard Packer fan, so you don't think that. Because
no,
like I can't stand hearing that. Like I'm not a crazy NFL fan. I'll get into it during the season, but like in the off season, like whatever. I could care less. Like some people year round, what's my team doing free agency? Like, oh yeah, whatever. I don't whatever. But like
whatever.
when it's in season, like yeah, it's fun, get into it. But yeah, that's all I need to know. I can't stand some of those people that like try to compare certain people to like guys like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, or they're like, come on, come on.
No.
maybe get a life and do something other than like I don't know. I
Yeah,
just can't, like I don't know. That was kind of harsh because I mean I have a lot of friends that are like that, but it's just like seriously, like wow.
yeah,
I don't know. There's I mean, obviously there's some people who get very deeply involved with their sports teams. Like I have some friends, the Red Wings, you said, are doing better. And oh my gosh, I can't stand it. They won't shut up about how good the Red Wings are. Every night they're posting on their Instagram stories from like Red Wings meme pages when they win and all this crap. And I just can't stand it. It drives me
oh,
nuts. Like, oh my gosh, I get being a fan, but holy smokes. Maybe I'm just getting crabby
that's
in my
too,
old age. I don't know.
yeah, maybe.
Oh
Oh,
man. So on a different note, you mentioned doing an internship, and
yeah,
I saw your LinkedIn, and we connected on LinkedIn,
yeah,
and I saw you got an internship with College of DuPage. What is it?
DuPage, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
College of DuPage, yep.
With the
Um,
athletics program, or
yeah, yeah, so obviously for my master's, my MBA, I needed to like get an internship in before I graduated. So I kind of did some research, started applying at places. Um, I actually had one at Northern Illinois University, but that was more in like the ticket sales. I don't really see myself selling ticket sale. Like I don't see myself selling tickets. Like it's just I don't see it. Um, so I actually ended up kind of looking elsewhere. Um, did a lot of research, figured out some stuff. But last semester, while I was doing all this, I actually got really fortunate. Um, the athletic director at the College of DuPage actually came to my class to speak to us because it was an athletic director class. So we were all learning about like what different athletic directors do, how the NJCAA does things, how Division One does things, how Division Two does, like all the different sorts of aspects. So we actually had athletic directors from every division come in and speak to us. It was a really cool class. But his name's Ryan. Ryan came in and spoke with us, and I knew it was right down when he was talking to us. I like Googled it. I'm like, where is the College of DuPage? Like, where is this? It sounds like it's perfect. And I kind of wanted to be like close to Aurora and the rink because for the first 8 weeks, I needed to drive from my house to work to the rink. So I'm like, let's try to find a middle ground. So the College of DuPage was like right in the middle. So this guy's speaking, I'm doing my research, like figuring stuff out. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, do I ask him while he's at the end of this meeting? Or do I like wait to send him an email and ask my teacher about it? And I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to raise my hand at the end of this in front of the whole class and say, hey, do you happen to have like, would you offer an internship? And I just totally like shot my shot. I'm like, fuck, like it's a little won't hurt to
yeah.
try, you know? And he's like, actually, how about you give me a call after we're out of here? And I'm like, wait, he asked me a couple questions. Like he asked me like a couple, like they were like simple questions. I don't exactly remember what they were, but simple questions. He was like, yeah, give me a call afterwards. And like, we'll schedule a time to meet. And I'm like, all right, sweet. So like at this time I had been applying at other places. I'm like, fuck, like this might work out perfect.
Yeah.
Long story short, it worked out perfect. I went in for an interview and they were like, yeah, like we'd love to have you. So and my biggest thing like doing the internship was kind of being able to oversee the entire athletic department, which I've been fortunate enough to be able to see the entire athletic department. I've kind of helped with some compliance things, um, big game operations, kind of seeing how like they run off. Obviously, haven't been able to do football, but volleyball, lacrosse. They have two lacrosse, men's and women's lacrosse, basketball, softball, baseball, tennis. So like I've been able to see all the game operations on that. And then at the same time, I've even been able to see like in the equipment room. I've inventoried, which obviously isn't like the funnest thing on the face of the earth. But I told him, I said, like, hey, like I want to see everything. Like I want to see how
Yeah.
everything operates, how everything works. So like I've been able to help out in the equipment room, which has been cool. And holy shit, is there like I had no idea how much equipment you had to have for a football team. Holy shit. There's like one day I did inventory on helmets, and I swear to God, there was over 200 football helmets in
Does it
that
got
they
a
like,
bunch of extras or
yeah, they have a handful of extras because like they needed certain sizes and they don't want to have to buy stuff. So like they keep all the
yeah,
extra. And they like with football stuff, apparently like you send it in and it gets refurbished every year or every couple of years. So like you don't need to buy new stuff every year. It just gets refurbished, which is
huh,
interesting, especially the
yeah,
helmets and the shoulder pads. Um, so I've been able to see that. I've been able to see some like I don't know how to exactly say it, affidavits. So like that's like when an athlete fills it out and then we put it into the system and fill it all out. And then they have like this special compliance thing that you type everything in and you can see all the athletes' grades, making sure that these athletes can play. Um, and then actually tomorrow I'm actually getting to sit in. They are going to make sure like the tennis team is all good to go, which I don't know why it's happening. Now that I'm thinking of it, I'm not sure why it's happening tomorrow because they've already had some matches and stuff, but maybe they were just like preseason or something. I'm not exactly sure. And then next week I actually get to sit in on a meeting with every single athletic director in the like the conference of this school. They have like a big meeting talking about all the different sports and what they can do differently. So I'm really interested to see what that's all about. And part of the reason I'm in the athletic department here is, down the road, if I do go the athletic route, I would love to see myself as an athletic director. Like that would be my ultimate goal is to
yeah,
become an athletic director somewhere, which obviously I understand is going to take, a handful of years unless I get really lucky at some point, which who knows, maybe I will. That would be great. But that's like the main reason um done that. I've done that internship and I got to see like some of the budgets. They're not like I don't think I'm actually allowed to see like what they actually spend, but I've been able to see like the budget of like the buses and the budget of like a team traveling and how much that costs, which is really kind of interesting to me because you don't understand until you actually see it how much money goes into an athletic department that has, I want to say they have like 14 or 15 different sports teams. Like it's
yeah.
it's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy. I took
yeah.
a sports management class at Tech my final semester, and we had to do like a project on an athletic department as like kind of like our final project. We had to like pick a school and then like go through every aspect of their athletic department, kind of like break it down, how they operate, what's their conference like, all this stuff, go into the details, try to find out, any information you could on budgets based on like what's available and like we did the University of Michigan and like just kind of like some of the stuff we dug into, like it's really insane. Like
Uh-huh.
at that level, it's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, even at a smaller level, it's
Well,
wild, but just like
even at this school, I mean, so they've had the best NJCAA. The football team has won 4 straight national championships, which is pretty cool.
yeah,
I want to say so volleyball has theirs next weekend, or this actually coming weekend. So like they have some really good like
programs.
sports team programs.
Yeah,
So like a lot of times these kids they'll come for 2 years. It's almost like junior hockey. It's like these kids come right out of high school and they want to go to school and become better at the sport they're playing to see if they can go somewhere else while at the same time get, I want to say it's in a 2 year like associate's degree or something
yeah,
or another. So like, and that's been interesting to me. Like, obviously it's not a huge thing up in the UP. Obviously, there's like Bay College and whatnot. I'm not sure what there
yeah.
is over at Houghton Hancock area,
You
but
got Go Gibbick in
oh yeah,
Ironwood, and they got like a satellite campus in Houghton.
okay, yeah. So like, it was interesting to me that a lot of these kids are doing that to make sure that school is something they want to do and they get to play sports at the same time. Um,
Right.
which was pretty neat to me.
Yeah. No, that is really cool. And at the level you're experiencing it like with the success, like that's way different
Mhm.
than anything you'd see in the UP. No diss on like Gogo and Bay, but
Yeah,
like they're not pumping out high end like NCAA recruits. Like some of these schools, like probably this one, if they're winning that many national championships, like you got guys from that football team that are going D1 or at least D2 to other schools. And, I mean, like that's a huge role. Like you said, it's just like junior hockey. Like you go refine your
Yep.
skills, you get a little bit better. Yeah, you waste some eligibility. I guess that's the difference, but you could still go play 2 years of D1 or whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
D2 or D3, even D3. If
exactly
you're not good enough at
anything.
first to go D3, and then, you hop in there, you get better over a couple of years and you go Division 3, which I think a lot of those people do that there, and then they come to Aurora, or they go
Oh yeah,
to
I'm sure if it's that close.
Elmhurst, which is just up the road too.
Oh yeah,
There's a handful of other ones. I think there's one in Naperville and there's one in Joliet. They're all over the place in Chicago. Division 3, like they're not in our conference. The hockey conference isn't very close, minus Lake Forest, but yeah, they're all over the place. So, but I thought it was pretty neat, and it's been a great experience. I've learned quite a bit. Like I've said in some of the interviews that I've had actually the past couple of weeks, is one of my biggest weaknesses is lack of experience, which this is getting me some of that experience that I need
yeah.
for the job world. So
And if you're getting to see like every aspect, you're getting a little bit of taste, and you can talk about that in an interview. Like, yeah, I don't have a lot of experience in this, but I've got to see this and this and this and this. Like
yep,
that always helps.
yeah, and see how it works and whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's cool. Hopefully someday we'll see athletic director Spencer Denbeste at some Big Ten school or
someone that'd be unreal. That'd be
the
unreal. That'd be
ACC
my
or the SEC or what.
yeah. I mean, if you're taking let's just say like I used to shoot to, obviously be in the NHL someday when I was a little kid. I guess that would be my ultimate goal. If I go the athletic route, that would be my like goal is to, be an athletic director for, Michigan or
Right.
one of those huge schools because they're dealing with a lot of freaking money. I can tell you
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Like it's crazy. And you can work your way up. Like you could be an athletic director at a D3 school or a D2 school for 10 years, you get some experience, you have some success, you do some things, you get on some people's radars, and then like all of a sudden like, hey, I qualify for a D1 position and work your way up the ladder. You
Yeah.
know, I know
Yeah.
even like Tech or Northern, obviously, like GLIAC schools, like there's a lot of shit to deal with. I mean, especially schools that I'm assuming it's a little more difficult when you have a D1 hockey program and then the rest of your sports are D2. So you got sports in different conferences at different levels, different rules, different a lot of stuff going on between Division 1 and 2. Kind of, I'm sure that's some experience that
Yeah.
definitely helps.
100%.
And there's a lot of schools like that, like Bemidji or
Yeah.
almost all of those
All the
CCHA
schools in the CCHA are Division 1, and then
hockey.
the rest of
Yeah.
the sports are Division 2. I'm pretty certain, at least as far as
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I think so. Bemidji, Ferris, Lake State, Peck Northern, Mankato.
St.
Uh,
Thomas,
no, they're all Division 1 now.
St.
Yeah,
Thomas's,
yeah. Is Bowling Green in the? Yeah, and they're all Division 1 too. Okay, so almost all the schools, but still.
almost all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, cool. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for coming on the podcast. Always good to catch up and
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I know it's a
yeah,
little bit of a different one here, but things
yeah.
have changed, and
Things have changed, but
we're
it's good that it's different. It'd be boring if it was the
yeah,
same every time, right?
yeah, yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, awesome.